Hi, it's Marilyn Devonish here from TranceFormationTM.com, and I just want to check first of all that you can hear me. So I'm going to be also looking at my iPad and just checking that out as well. And once I am happy that you can see me and that you can hear me, then we will begin. So, exciting. I do like doing new things. So I've just seen that Facebook has come on stream and come online. So can you let me know, can you see me and can you hear me? And what I might also do, I've turned the volume down on my iPad because I don't want any echoes, but I'm just going to press this as well and just see for myself. Let's just... Oh yes. And I just want to check first of all that you can hear me. Right. So I'm going to have. Right. You can hear me. I can hear myself, so that's cool. But the thing is, I'm in my webinar platform, so I can't necessarily see what's going on Facebook. But I've got my iPad on because it will give you a double echo, etc., etc. So what I wanted to do is, number one, try out the streaming from my webinar platform directly into Facebook. So I think we've got a thumbs up for that. But if you are watching on Facebook and you do want to put a comment in, then that should, I think, show up on my iPad. So feel free to do that so that I know I'm not just sat here talking to myself. And what I wanted to do is just give you a very quick overview of the new program that is in pre-launch this week, and just give you a little sense of what it's all about. And take you through some of the key components. So that is what I have planned. So let's rock and roll. So it's the transformation program. Now, I ran this program probably about, 6 years ago, and I ran it as a one-to-one program. So everyone was going through it individually. Anything from 3 to 6 months. I did have someone that did it over a course of 9 months. I had someone that did it over 12 months as well, because they really wanted to pace themselves. But it's a program that was very hands-on, very intensive. So I took 5 people in the first intake, and because of the staggered timings, that meant I could only ever open it up to 1 or 2 people a year, if that. And I probably had a period of about 4 years where I didn't offer it at all because there just wasn't the time to do it. And so what I'm doing this time round is running it as an online program now that we have such wonderful technology. And part of it is going to be doing some of the one-to-one stuff, particularly at the beginning, to take you through a diagnostic using your soul plan, doing a bit about the archetypal journey, getting a sense of how do you want to progress through the program, and starting to set those kind of benchmarks and objectives and looking at specifically what we want to clear. And then the majority of it will be done via video webinar, so using the platform that you're seeing now. So in terms of the overview, we start with the soul plan diagnostic, because for those of you who have done a soul plan, you will know that it's an absolutely fantastic way to really get in and pinpoint and home in on negative emotions, on specific limiting beliefs that relate to you and your birth name and your specific soul plan. So everyone will have an individual soul plan, and we'll do that as a telephone or Skype session one-to-one privately. We're then going to, of course, have the Huna and Access Consciousness. It will be rude not to, because that's everybody's absolute favorite. I know that. So that's cool. Hang on, I just see a comment on Facebook. So I'll just have a quick look, see if I can read that. Quiet mode is turned on. Ooh, no, we don't want to do that. Oh, hold on 1 second. Just I'll have a look. I'll have a look. See in the moment. It's showing me that people are watching, but it's not actually showing me the comments. Don't know why that is. I can write a comment, but I don't necessarily want to do that. But I will check back in that in a minute, just so as not to be totally distracted. We're also going to do some tarot readings. I have to, because that's everyone's favorite as well, particularly those of you who do Tarot Tuesday with me every month in the Facebook membership group. We're going to, of course, do some strategy and action planning in terms of, okay, what do you want to get? Where are we going? What are we doing? What's your kind of individual strategy? Because everyone is so different in terms of the way that they learn and the way that they take on board information. We're going to do some kinesiology, and actually I've got them here. I was using them with a client this week. Let me show you. I'll have to sit back because it sometimes spins really fast and I need to get back. But we're going to also use the dowsing rods for what I call proxy sessions. And so that will be, sometimes I'm asking a question on behalf of the group. Sometimes I may be asking a question on behalf of an individual. And so the first thing we do is we want to kind of get the sense of, you know, for my purposes, give me a clear signal for yes, and it tends to move in one direction. It always goes in the same direction, but I check, and then give me a different signal for no, and it goes in the other direction. And then if I'm asking a question on behalf of the group, it may be, actually, let me think of the Raising the Money Vibration group that I'm working with at the moment on another 10-part program. So with regards to the group, have we still got negative emotions that we need to clear? That's a yes. Okay, cool. With regards to the group, do we need to do a bit more on the ancestral clearings? So, okay, that would be a yes. Do we need to do more on the past life clearings? That'll be a no. And that makes sense, actually, because when the session we did last time was past life clearing. So I'm actually happy about that. That's cool. Let's see. Would it be beneficial to do more of the Huna? Oh boy. So I think we've got some Huna coming up for that one. So that's basically the way that I do that session. So we'll be doing that on the live webinar sessions, and also asking collectively on behalf of the group as well, in terms of where do we need to focus on, or if somebody's particularly stuck with something, we can get a really good sense and diagnostic of what do we need to focus in on, because people go, well, it could be this and it could be that and and oftentimes I'm like, for goodness sake, let's just get on with this thing. So that's where the Huna comes in as well, because it's absolutely brilliant for giving you a sense of clarity, and also it's really great for people to start honing down and focusing in on what it is they want to work on and what it is they want to actually clear. So we'll be doing some of that. We're also going to do some future life progression, because that is absolutely fantastic for being able to go out and see your future. And I've had some incredible things happen with regards to that. What I will do when this video is posted, I will add a link to some of those videos where I've summarized client experiences, so you can have a look, see at that for yourself, but very specific stuff like, you know, a client in the future life progression session seeing a white house, a white stone house on a hill with 2 doors, one through which the public could enter. That's how her future self said it. A year or so later, she moved into a white stone house on a hill with 2 doors, one through which the public could enter. That's where she lives to this day. And the reason she wanted the 2 doors, or that her future self said it would be useful, is that she could do sessions in her home. And the way the house that she lives in now is configured, she can have members of the public coming in, because she's got a family, husband and 2 kids, but they don't have to go anywhere into the private space of the home in terms of using that second entrance. So it can be that specific. And we're also going to do some timeline therapy stuff, both for clearing in terms of negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and also going forward and putting goals and objectives and outcomes into our future timeline. So that's a bit of an overview of what we've got coming up. In terms of who the program is for, I'd say on a big chunk, global, high level, often, and I'm just really now going on the people who signed up previously. So it was people who know they are capable of so much more, and they know that there's another level they could take themselves to. So that was quite a big criteria for people last time. Also had a few people who said they were kind of lost and they almost felt fragmented. So it was time to rediscover themselves and see what was next for them. Had people who had the sense that what was going on the inner, and if you read the testimonials that I posted the last few days, one of the people was saying that she, in terms of the outer world, people would look at her and go, oh, you're so confident, but that wasn't how she felt inside. So how she felt inside was very different to what was going on for her internally. So there's often that. So I call it almost being out of alignment. I have people who have plateaued and what I call flatlined. Now, when I say flatlined, I don't mean they're like, and they're gone, but I mean they are going through the motions of life, but not fully engaged and not totally living it. And then I had people who said, look, I've tried everything, nothing has worked, it's kind of last resort. I had one of the clients and she did a video. I've got the video here. What I may do, I don't know how the sound quality will be, but I might play it for you in a bit. But she said basically she had poo-pooed things like NLP and hypnosis and all the stuff that I was doing, and her transformation was absolutely incredible. So if I don't show you the video as part of this webinar, I will post the link so you can watch it on YouTube. And there are also people who are just feeling stuck and they were unsure of either direction or next step. So that was a basic summary of things that people wanted to work on last time round. In terms of, I'd say, getting more granular and also looking at some of life's big questions, some of the things that came up is people saying, I don't even know who I am. So we're looking at, who are you? What are you here on this earth to do? What's your purpose? What is your life all about? What is your calling? And that's where things like the soul plan and the overview of the archetypal journey coming really, really useful for doing that. And also looking at what stops and blocks you, because sometimes people know that they can tell you chapter and verse what's stopping them, but the next thing is, okay, you know that, what are you going to do about it? So that's again a big part of it. And if you wanted to look at, actually, well, stay with the video for now, but if you wanted to see some of those testimonial videos for yourself, the link is on the screen if you're actually looking rather than just listening. But I'll tell you, it's www.transformationprogram.eventbrite.com, and trance is TRANCE, as in hypnotic trance, and then formation, FORMATION. So transformationprogram.eventbrite.com, that's where you'll find an overview. And what I will do once I've published this video is I'll put it in the description of the video as well, so you can just click through on the link, and I'll head over also onto Facebook and put that in the comments. So that was, again, kind of the things we were looking at. And in terms of what I call the practicalities, okay, what are we going to be doing? In terms of who it might be for, if these are the things that you're working on, definitely letting go of old negative emotions and limiting beliefs. So typically speaking, we're working with things like anger, sadness, fear, guilt, anxiety, because those tend to act as what I call umbrella emotions that you might have different names. I don't know, frustration, annoyance, feeling down, but basically those are umbrella terms. And we're also looking at the limiting beliefs, so things like I'm not good enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough. And we're going to get quite specific about that. Actually, let me show you. One second, let me show you. Let me show you the way to go. Actually. Okay, so let me just give you an example. So I'm going to choose, actually, let me look. So my worldly challenges. So for me, it's the 10-1 energy, it's called. So just going to tell you in terms of, well, 10-1, because they're all different. So you can have like the 10-1 in one of 7 positions. So for me, I had the 10-1 as a worldly challenge. So worldly challenge in the 10-1 is difficulty in adjusting to the physical, in denial of their spirituality and can block their spiritual progress. They have potentially, it's all potential, male-female balance issues and critical of self and others. One of the things I also kind of know to be true now is the 10-1, this is a massive generalization, but the 10-1 also tends to be the energy that carries suicidal tendencies. And for those who may have an interest in such things, for example, I've never seen a soul plan like it. I've only seen it the once. Robin Williams, the actor, who sadly committed suicide, he had the 10-1 5 times. And when I saw his soul plan, I was like, oh my God, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. Because, you know, for me, I've only got it the once, and I did contemplate suicide in September 2000. So that's the 10-1 energy. And there's 22 different soul plan energies, and there are a myriad of combinations. So the limiting beliefs for the 10-1, for example, let's just say if I was the client, so we've got my soul plan, which is, let's pull that out so you can have a look, see. So you've got my soul plan, which is here. So that's why I'm getting the numbers and etc. and the 10-1 and all that sort of stuff from. So that's that. Right. So the 10-1 limiting beliefs. I am separate. I am alien. I am abandoned by the divine. I have to be perfect. I hate myself. I am flawed. Others are flawed. And to say that I used to hate myself would be a massive understatement. And you don't necessarily contemplate suicide when you love yourself. To say that in terms of I'm separate, I'm alien, I always felt, right up until the age of 32, I felt like I was on the outside looking in. Didn't have many friends, wasn't particularly sociable. I'm still off the chart introvert, but I lived everything you would imagine an introvert to be. So when I read my soul plan later, because I became a soul plan reader in 2013, I was like, oh my God, if somebody had given me this like 30 years ago, it would have saved me a lot of angst. What it says in terms of, let's say, some of the possible challenges of the 10-1, just to give you a flavor. So with regards, so we looked at challenges about the self-loathing, highly critical, denial of spirituality, other things about being insecure. You must work to establish yourself in the spiritual. Man, did that take some work. But what it says in terms of the attributes, when you overcome the challenges and step into the energy of it, it says you work at a high frequency, so high energy vibration. There's a good yin yang balance of male and female. And weirdly, when I first started, and for the first 9 years I was in therapeutic practice, I was basically a relationship coach. And I would say 80% of my clients were men. And they actually came as a result of an article that was in the Metro newspaper called Breaking Up the Easy Way. But it's really weird. And I remember somebody saying, don't you find it weird that you're doing this sort of stuff with men? And I said, no, it feels perfectly natural. So that actually looking at this now and thinking back will probably explain some of that. It also says excellent healer. We make excellent healers. We have a lot of power. We're inventive. We have good vocal expression. We have many spiritual abilities. We act as a channel, and we're here to be a possible service incarnation, which when you know me now, you go, well, of course, that's you, Marilyn. But as I'm saying, right up until the age of 32, that couldn't have been further from my reality. And I was studying to be a chartered accountant, having done a business studies degree and a postgraduate marketing diploma with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. I had absolutely no interest in this world, and I didn't know anything about it. So that just gives you a flavor. That's just one of the 22 elements of the soul plan, which is why we're going to use it as a diagnostic, because it means we can really home in with regards to the limiting beliefs. So that's that one. Getting yourself back into alignment, that's going to be a series of things that we're going to do on the webinars. The gaining clarity, that's also going to come as a result of, number one, clearing some of these limiting beliefs, because when they're no longer in your way, you can actually think straight, and the way becomes clear. And I'll share with you some of the client testimonials as well, so you'll then get a sense of how it actually comes alive. We're definitely looking at creating a more compelling future. There's one particular testimony I want to share with you on that one, because I think she sums it up brilliantly. One of the things she says was, it does what it says on the tin. My life is totally transformed, which is lovely. And she gets a bit more specific about it as well. And also kind of just, there are often people who are coming, not because they got anything wrong. Life is good, and they want to just take it to the next level and move things along and just break those boundaries. And as I would call it, be far more limitless in their approach to life. So that gives you a flavor of, who it's for and kind of what we're looking at. In terms of the program delivery, we're doing one-to-one sessions with the soul plan stuff, because everybody's soul plan is unique to them and based on their birth name. And so we're going to do either telephone or Skype session, depending on what you want to do. I also have an online meeting room as part of the platform you're watching now on Big Marker, so we can use that as well, because I know not everyone's on Skype. And if I'm doing international stuff, you don't necessarily want to ring me from Australia or America or Canada or even Europe. So, we can do online. There's going to be a series of 7 online webinars. There'll be written e-coaching exercises as well in between times. We're also going to have an accountability program. I'll tell you more about that when you sign up and we get started. And for those who are booking, I'm going to say this weekend, but of course, if you're watching this further down the line, you've missed it. So if you're watching this live in real time, it's for this weekend. If you're not watching it live in real time, and you'll be able to tell by the date on Facebook or the date on YouTube, so don't get all clever with me now. But if you're watching this in real time, then there's a choice of one of my 28-day e-coaching programs, because I think it will be a really good idea to be also doing something on a consistent basis to help you change your habits. So you can choose from the Magic and Gratitude program. There's the Limitless NeuroSuccess, and the Magic and Gratitude is about how to live a happier and more magical life. And we've had some incredible, turnarounds from that. People going from, depressed to bouncing out of bed within 7 days, which is very cool. There's the Limitless NeuroSuccess Program, which is kind of brain training, taking principles of personal development and neuroscience and creating a 28-day program to next level your brain and your skills and your neurology. There's also the synchronicity supercharger. So if you want to be in that place of, seeing more of the magical connections of the world, and what Carl Jung would call those acausal events. Now, acausal means there should not be a direct correlation. You cannot explain the correlation, but nonetheless it is there. And when you are in that place, in that space, actually it mirrors one of my favorite quotes that I have sitting on my desk. It's here. If you can see that. Those who don't believe in the magic will never find it. And I'm actually, while I'm here, let me read you. This is one of my favorite quotes. So it says, "And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in the magic will never find it." And that is from the wonderful Roald Dahl. So that is one of my favorite quotes. Actually, do you know where I got this? My brain is just like, that. Isn't that weird? I don't know if you can see them. The earrings I'm wearing are amethyst. I bought these at London Fashion Week, and on their stall, weirdly enough, they had a pile of these cards. And so I bought the earrings. I said, "Oh, do you mind if I have one?" She's like, "Yeah, whatever." So Chupi, actually, let's give them a plug while we're here, because I hadn't even really thought about that. So Chupi, multi-award-winning designer Chupi, that's CHUPI, is inspired by the beauty of wild and natural things. Each piece of Chupi jewelry is designed, made and finished in Ireland and hallmarked in the historic Dublin Castle. And their hashtag is #LoveChupi. Well, I've never even read the back of that before, and I've had this for a couple of years now. So how cool is that? So that's the synchronicity program. And so you can, and there's a couple more. I'll put those in. I'll send you a list when you join up. And we're going to also have kind of group coaching calls so we can have a chat, etc. So that's basically how the program is going to be delivered. It's a 10-part series. So if we break it down a little bit more strategically, these are in the order that I think they will be. However, when we get started, I'm also going to be going with the vibe of the first mover group. So once I've finished this program, I will then no longer be running it live. It will be a recording. But because this is a new version of the one I've been running for the last 6 years, the first wave of it, all of the webinars, none of them have been recorded yet. So we're going to be doing those live together. So I'm going to be going with the vibe of that group in terms of determining the order. But in terms of how I've generally run it, number one is the soul plan diagnostic, because it gives us so much incredible detail about you. And I did a session with someone last week, and she said she's in her 40s, and she says, "Thank you for allowing me to understand and know myself." It was like, it's that incredible. We've got part 2, which is the archetypal journey overview, because once you see the archetypal journey, you will then get a sense of where are you. And when you know, let's say you're at just at the point of hearing the call, you know that you need to step over the threshold, and you have a sense of what's coming next. You know that the abyss is coming, but you also know the transformation will be there, and you know there's going to be a sense of atonement. So it gives you a sense of reassurance about where you are on that cycle, what people might call the hero's journey. We're going to do some core issue therapy, which is something I don't generally tend to do unless I'm in very specific client sessions. So we're going to use the soul plan cards, and we're going to do some group diagnostic, and we're going to choose a process that are going to help clear things for the group. I love core issue therapy. It's freaking wild and crazy, whilst also being extremely precise. It's just bonkers how it could be so ridiculously spiritual and so very, because you know, you kind of look at this one here and then you move along the grid here and then you go down here. It's just so, it's like a scientific process, but wildly spiritual. So that's very, very cool. Oh, nice. We're also going to do the Huna and Access Consciousness, energy clearing, belief change work. We're going to do the tarot readings. We've kind of touched on that already. We're going to do the strategy and action planning, the kinesiology and dowsing. And generally speaking, that comes there because we're now checking, is there anything else we haven't yet cleared that we need to remove, resolve, be aware of, such that we can now start creating the future you want to create. So I would say, if we just kind of skip it back one, I would say the first half of the program is almost like going back into the past and just sorting out old baggage and things that weigh you down and looking at old blockages. And then when we move into the second part, that's now moving us more on the upward trajectory, and we're starting then to look at creating your future. So we'll do the future life progression session. We're going to have a members choice session where everybody who's signed up will decide what they want to do for that webinar, and then we'll kind of do the future energy creation process and put things into place with implementation, and we'll probably do some timeline therapy work there as well. So if you're watching this as a recording, feel free to type your questions into the comments, and I will then cycle back once I've finished the broadcast and I will answer those for you. I'll also do the same on YouTube if you want to leave anything nice there. I say nice because Facebook is just, I don't know what it is. There's a marked difference often between Facebook and YouTube. So if this isn't your thing, YouTubers, scroll along. Nothing to see here. But if you have a genuine question, feel free to put it in the comments. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let us just have a very quick look at some of the testimonials that have come from this. Well, we will do after I've had a drink of water. Give me a moment. Alrighty. So I'll read this one in case you happen to have your head down and you're listening rather than watching the screen. So this is one of my lovely clients, and she did the very first time I ran this about 6 years ago. So she said, even though I thought I was confident, I didn't really feel confident inside. Everyone thought I was confident because of the exterior. And after this, she made me laugh. After these sessions, I know I am the dog's nuts. And I just thought that's got to be the line of the program, really. So that's one of them. This was Claudette, whose video is on the Eventbrite page. She said it does what it says on the tin, and my life is completely transformed, which is lovely. Someone else, this was, yeah, oh, she's on the, you'll see it on the video actually. I think this is an extract from Louise's video, but she said it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Marilyn has been like the rocket to launch me into the stratosphere. I thought I was flying, but there is nothing like seeing things from a rocket point of view. But now something now seems clear. And so she knew she was one of those people doing very well and wanted to do even better, because she thought, you know, I'm a high flyer, and she was, and there was still this next level, which even she didn't really know was there. So people have often had that experience. This is the one I said we'll get to in terms of how she sums it up beautifully in terms of just seeing the world differently when you are totally in alignment. And so for this one, she said it's like the scales have dropped off my eyes, because I thought I was seeing, but now it's like getting a new pair of glasses, and now life is like HD vision. So again, somebody very successful, doing very well, kind of thought she knew what the world was all about and how things roll and all the rest of it. And, you know, for this particular client, this was Claudette, she's probably talked about it on the video on the Eventbrite page as well. But we would talk about something, and this was like on the phone, and then somebody completely unrelated would say the exact same words to her, or I'd be saying, well, you know, maybe it'll be a really good idea to research this area, boom, 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 boom. And then somebody would randomly like send her an email or say, hey, Claudette, I saw this article, I thought you might like it. And it's completely random, but it's the exact thing we were talking about. So she was like, Marilyn, I'm living in a whole different universe. So that's often the experience people have as well. So that's Louise. Her video is on the Eventbrite page. That's Claudette. Her video is on the Eventbrite page. I might have a little go at the end of playing you the videos just so I can hear what the quality's like. And one of the things that people have found it's like they become so much more self-aware, and they become so much more themselves, and they are just out in the world and just doing incredible things. And that's one of the really, really nice things about it. And so the much longer testimonials in terms of everything they said, and you can watch it in their own words, are on the Eventbrite page. So, and actually, and the link there again is on the screen if you're kind of looking at that in real time. Now, one of the questions I have, and I had it when I was starting to put together the Raising Your Money Vibration online program, and I know I'm going to have it again about this one. People say, you know, things like the Huna energy clearings and the processes, do they travel? Do they work if you're doing this remotely, or even if you're watching a webinar or listening to an MP3 recording? So what I've done is I've also pulled out just some of the testimonials from clients who have been listening to recordings after I've recorded them, so they weren't even on it live, or we've done stuff by telephone, or we've done stuff by Skype. So this is lovely. Some of you might know Pippa Neve. This is Pippa. She's out in Australia. She was volunteered, because on my e-newsletter, if I'm testing out a process, I often ask for volunteers who will listen to it and give me feedback. And people are often on live, but if they can't make it, I'll send them the recording. So Pippa had volunteered. So she wasn't on it live, but listened to it a few days later. She said initially, and this was for a Huna, I think this might have been the Soul of Money piece, if I'm not mistaken. But she says, initially my third eye and throat and heart center and solar plexus all felt compressed. And that will be, seriously, when I didn't realize until a few weeks ago, because this was a couple of years ago, I put it into the Raising Your Money Vibration program. I'm reading it to the group. And as I was reading it, I suddenly realized that the way Pippa had written it was the exact order that I'd done the Huna symbols, but nobody knew what I was doing. All they can hear when I'm doing Huna is, even if you're a Huna practitioner, you got no freaking idea what that means. And that's basically all they could hear is all this. And when I read it a few weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, she wrote it in the order that I did the Huna energy symbol. So what she's describing here is I did a symbol, which is the literal translation is thunder comes down and strikes the earth and makes it shake. And I put it into the heart center in terms of, in my imagination, I'm thinking about the group and I'm like, okay, let's tune into the group. What am I going to do? Da, 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 da. And I put it into the heart center. And it's like an energetic slam. And so you feel it. Well, some people do if they're sensitive to energy. So that thing about being compressed is often how people experience that particular symbol. And she says, I was uncomfortable to say the least. After the first round of Huna, I sensed the image of a triangle. Now, the reason that is freaky is one of the symbols I then did after the breaking it all down is I used the triangle, the Huna symbol, which is the triangle, and it's a red triangle. Nobody knows that. I had not talked about the symbols. I hadn't shown anyone the symbols. It's only very recently that I've started even showing them on webinars, but she had never seen the symbols. And she described the triangle. Actually, I'll maybe show you in is it up here? I'll maybe show you in a bit as well what it was, but she had no knowledge of any of this. All she was doing is just listening while I was, you know, waving, as they call it, waving my hands about. And this was actually a tele seminar, so people had dialed into a telephone line, so they couldn't even see me. So there were absolutely no visuals whatsoever in terms of how it was delivered, but she described it as it happened. And for those of you who are at maybe the TCCHE event, the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution, where I'm the host and the MC. So we've got people like Greg Braden and Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and Lynn McTaggart, etc. And I've done Huna there a couple of times. The first year I did about 2 minutes, very impromptu. I was just asked to do it as I was going on stage. And last year I did about 5 minutes. And again, people had no idea what the hell I was doing, yet they were coming up. And as they were describing what they felt, they were describing the order and sequence in which I had done things. So that is the, just to show you, that's the red triangle that I did use that Pippa had no knowledge of. She says, during and after the second round, I felt the pain being drawn out of my body via my heart center. Now that is freaky, because that's what I call on the Avaiku, the Huna guides. And I'm doing this thing where I call it like candy flossing, where you're whipping things up and then pulling them out. Again, nobody had any knowledge of this. She said, I slowly began to feel lighter. My heart center opened up. And there is a symbol that I used once I'd done all of that stuff, where where I specifically did it around the heart center, and it's about opening up. So it's 3 concentric circles, and each of them about, if you look at the OMG emoji, oh, here it is. Basically, it's a little bit like that, where it's opening things up, and I did that in the heart center. So and she said it opened up more than previously, and I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. One of the symbols that I then used to start closing it off was, it's called it's the wave of light that makes you gasp, and it's like light being put into the system and emanating back out again. She had absolutely no knowledge of any of this. She probably still doesn't, because I've never broken it down in this way. I just, you know, talked about it a little bit on the last webinar. And she says, and as I'm typing the phrase, as if the light of my soul is now able to shine through my heart center, comes to mind. And then she said, the 3rd round gave me a sense of my heart center expanding into the universe, and I now have a sense of feeling more open, and I believe I've totally cleared the blocks. And weirdly, when I was finishing off, I did a symbol which is over, the translation is the light comes pouring forth from the front of their head, like the 3rd eye, and also did one for opening up universal connection. So that's a very long answer to, does the energy travel? Yes. Even when you've got no idea what's going on and you're just listening to an MP3 recording rather than me being there live. We've also had some really crazy stuff where, you know, this was somebody within a day or so signing up for, this was for the Raising Your Money Vibration Program. She was talking about she wants to free it up and her passion, etc. And she says, your money program is already working, by the way. And I had 4 or 5 people within 24 hours of signing up, had incredible things happen for them. The program hadn't started, but what I had done, because people, they didn't know each other, and I just started receiving emails from people saying, Marilyn, did you Huna the program? Huna, Huna. Did you Huna the program before we started? And I was like, why are you asking? Well, yes, I did. And then they were saying, oh my God, this has happened. There's one guy who's got a windfall into 3 figures, which is just amazing. Somebody else kind of got a job, dream job, the morning that she signed up, paying a lot more money. So we've had some crazy cool stuff. And, you know, in terms of the telephone sessions and the Skype sessions, because I know people, if they haven't worked in this way before, you sometimes think, oh, you've got to be in person. This was another of a friend and lovely client of mine, Lack Loy, the white collar warrior, in terms of he works in the city, and he also teaches martial mind power, which is martial arts of the Bruce Lee lineage. And he was blocked in terms of work and blocked in terms of contracts. Had been out of work at that point for 9 months. Another friend who I'd worked with, he said, oh, call Marilyn, get her to do some Huna for you over the phone. And we basically did about 5 minutes. And the next day, this is, my clients always say, you're not going to believe this. It's one of the phrases I hear most often. So he says the immortal words, you're not going to believe this. He was offered a job the next day. And this was a contract that had basically just, you know, disappeared and dissipated out of the blue. They were in touch saying, hey, can you start tomorrow? When he'd been out of work for 9 months, because now he's, you know, looking after the kids and doing the school run, he actually said to them, and he couldn't believe he was saying that, do you mind if I start next week on Monday? Because he just wanted a bit of time to reorientate himself. And he's been kind of busy ever since. That was a few years ago. And I also had another of my clients had exactly the same thing. Weirdly, she'd been out of contract for 9 months. And this is actually a note from Lack. So the guy's saying, oh, do you mind if I tell people about this? And he's like, yes, of course, Marilyn. Anything to spread the awareness of this amazing spiritual technology. And I was just checking. And I said, was it 8 or 9 months? He says, that's right. I was out of contract for 9 months. And so, you know, I had a client also of mine. We did this because she had also been out of contract and out of work for 9 months. She sends me a Facebook message saying, I've got a problem. I was like, oh, what now? And she says, I've just been offered 2 jobs. I don't know which one to choose. So, and again, these were Skype sessions and telephone sessions. So it totally does. And, you know, this is from someone who, oh, this is the 6-figure guy. So he's saying, you know, I just watched the Intuition Accelerator Supercharger, interested to learn more. And by the way, and because he'd also went up just after he'd signed up for the Raising Your Money Vibration Program, he said, by the way, it's looking like the financial windfall is now going to be multiple, and that's in capital letters, multiple 6 figures across the 12 months for me, which is very cool. Thank you for setting up the Huna Energy Intention. Have a great week and keep producing fabulous content for us to learn from. So, you know, The answer to that is yes. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a disclaimer. This program and things I've been talking about no way offers financial advice. I'm going to say the words, it's for entertainment purposes only, and participants are responsible for their own actions and for decisions taken. And also with my clients who have gone from, you know, struggling to earning 100K in the space of 4 weeks, having never, ever, ever done that before in their lives, they have a different infrastructure than somebody who's just starting out. They had the infrastructure to do it, they just didn't know how, and they had all of the blocks. So after the breakthrough session, you know, all bets are off and they're flying. But people will get different results, but they're often very similar. But you know, you'll be responsible for what you then go forth and create. So just very quickly to give you a sense of the program approach, it's going to be a mix of things. It's going to be practical, there's going to be stuff that's experiential, so you're experiencing what I'm doing with, let's say, the guided processes, future life progression, the HUNA, the access consciousness, the timeline therapy stuff. There's going to be a lot of self-dialogue because we will have various coaching exercises. So that's where the e-coaching exercises come into it. I'm going to be encouraging you to do some journaling because it's a very good way of kind of benchmarking where you're at and encouraging things to happen. There's going to be a lot of transformation work. It's called the TranceFormation Program. So, of course, there will be belief change and energy clearing sessions. And it is designed as a 3 to 6 month program, as with the first one. And it's probably going to be closer to the 6 month mark because it isn't one that we want to be rushing through. We want to do something, give it a chance to integrate, give it a chance to settle. And then we go again and kind of, you know, it's an iterative process. So that's it. And similar to the other program I'm running now, it's going to be full of magical components. So it's going to draw on all of the stuff that I've learned over the past 19 years thus far. There's going to be all of the kind of magical spiritual stuff as well. There's also going to be the principles, a lot of the stuff that I have an interest in from neuroscience, because we want to be activating the brain in different ways and kind of opening you up to new possibilities and hardwiring in new strategies. There's also going to be the strategic piece of putting the all of the layers together, and of course the magical transformation bit, which is the secret sauce of how all of these programs are coming together. So we'll be opening up the magical elixir. That said, this is one of my favorite sayings from HUNA. I pretty much use it on all of my workshops, and it says, think not that all wisdom is in your school. What I'm going to be sharing with you is stuff that I know that works. It's worked for me in terms of having my big transformation and turnaround, and it has also worked for my clients over the last 19 years. And that's not the only way to do it. There's other cool stuff that's happened, that, you know, that's even emerging right as we speak. And there's some good old legacy stuff as well. So what I'm bringing together, best practice and best principles from the things that I've experienced and researched, and there's going to be other ways to do it. So it's not the be all and end all. And I always say to my clients, look, if this process works for you, that's great. Take it on board, apply it. If it doesn't, there's probably going to be something else we do in another module that is really going to float your boat. But that is that. And just some things for those of you who have already signed up, or if you are thinking of signing up, a few things to keep in mind in terms of maximizing your results. Number one, give yourself permission to explore and be open. Set your purpose and intention. We're going to do that at the start anyway. That's what the one-to-one session is for. We're also going to do that at the start of each of these 7 webinars. Definitely keep an open mind, because there'll be things that maybe we do that also seem counterintuitive or are phrased in a way where you go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And oftentimes when the coaching questions and the statements and the linguistics of it don't make any sense, it's because they've kind of jarred your system, and you're going to just need a little bit of time to have that sink in. So you want to remain open while all of that is going on. Definitely notice and focus on the positive changes. We're going to talk about how you use that to build momentum and create what I call the snowball effect. You also want to share and interact. So when we're in the live webinars, we always have a chat room. There's also a private Q&A, because there are things you may not want to say, you don't want other people to see, or I was going to say here, but you know, people are normally typing. But you can send things in the webinar to me privately, so only I get to see them, or you can put stuff in the group chat. But when you're expressing and sharing, it often helps other people, but it also helps you, because that's where a lot of those aha moments and realizations will come from. And I just say, go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Right, cool. let me just yeah, for some reason, actually, give me 1 second. I'm just going to do a little something and just see if I can get around it that way. I just want to make sure if you've got any questions that I haven't, missed anything that I could very easily answer for you now. Hi, oh, brilliant. I mean, I know now I'm like, phew, I wouldn't have been talking to myself anyway because I'm recording this in big marker. But David Birch says, hey there. Hey, David, thank you so much for joining me. Tracy Lee Lawrenson says, hey there, look at you. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's working. So, lovely Tracy is a person who introduced me to Big Marker, which is the platform I'm using now. So that is very cool. Make sure the volume's down because I don't want the double echo that they have warned of. So that is that really in a nutshell. So if you do have any questions, if you do have any queries, you can type them into the Facebook chat and I will go and have a look at them before I close this. And I will also... Okay, oh sorry, I'm just having, it was a message that's just come in, but that's about something different. That's about the Cambio retreat. I'm going to be teaching at that retreat in Spain in November. So thank you, Kathy. I'll check that out later. So if you've got any questions, drop them in now. And if you're watching this after I've finished the live, then feel free to type them into the comments. So for those of you, as we just wrap it up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just give you an example of some of the exercises from the program I'm running currently, the Raising Your Money Vibration, just so you get a feel of what to expect. And for those of you I haven't met before, just a little bit about me. I've mentioned that I had a very traditional background, did a business studies degree, Chartered Institute of Marketing postgraduate diploma. I was an aspiring accountant, but terrified of public speaking, very, very shy, very introvert. And because one of the reasons I was going to be an accountant is I thought you didn't have to speak to anyone, that I could just sit and hide behind the numbers. It became blatantly obvious once I started the ACCA exams that a good accountant actually talks to their clients. I was like, oh God, really? And so I ended up going on an NLP training because I thought I had signed up for a communication skills course. And it wasn't until I got the joining instructions, I realized I signed up for also NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, and an introduction to this thing called HUNA. So I was hopping mad. I tried to get a refund. They wouldn't give me a refund, but the rest of they say is history, because by the time I got to the end of the NLP practitioner training, I loved it so much I didn't go for the refund. I decided to stay for the master practitioner, and that was in October 2000. And then in May 2001 became a trainer of NLP and a trainer of timeline therapy, and also did my hypnosis trainers training as well. And over the years have added a number of modalities to that: EFT, DNA theta healing, emo trance, HUNA, future life progression, archetypal profiling, Reiki, you name it, I've probably done it. There's probably about 20 different modalities now that I'm a trainer in or a practitioner in. Also things like the archetypal profiling, the photo reading, which, Jesus, man, to say that changed my life is, an understatement and a half, given that I was diagnosed with what was thought to be early onset Alzheimer's in my 20s. And photo reading was the thing that turned everything around for me. And also alongside that was working as a management consultant in central and local government, and also working as a Prince2 project manager. Started doing that in 2003. So very, very eclectic background now, but I still like to keep my hand in with the corporate stuff. I really do like the balance. Also, for the last, where are we now? Probably the last 16, 17 years, been writing for newspapers and magazines. So for several years, I was one of the media experts at Psychology's magazine. For about 7 years, I had a monthly relationship and agony aunt column with Spirit and Destiny magazine, written things like the Metro, Slimming, Confex, aesthetic medicine, writing for doctors and surgeons, call center intro, call center focus, writing about communication and human rapport, you name it. Again, very eclectic list, and teaching at places like Skiros in Greece. So anything to do with emotional health and well-being and mindset when I'm doing the spiritual stuff, and more things about corporate life on the other side. And the first book I ever co-authored was one called Stories of Transformation. And that was co-authored with people like Tony Robbins, Paul Shealy, the creator of photo reading, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, Chun-Yi Lin, and Brian Tracy. So and it was called Stories of Trans. Actually, maybe. Let me have a look. See, I've got a couple of copies here. So that's the book. It's a physical book. It's a real book as opposed to an ebook. But what I might do for those of you who are signing up this weekend, in addition to the bonus 28-day e-coaching program, I think what I might do is I'll send you a copy of this as well, because all of us have sat and we've written the story of how we have changed and transformed our life. I believe mine is on page 117. If memory serves me correctly, yes. So that's me. So we've each, got a chapter in the book. Let's go that way. So we've each got a chapter in the book where we write about how we changed and transformed our lives. So for those of you who are signing up this weekend, I will send you a copy of that book as well, because it's designed to be inspirational. And the series, it's Wake Up, Live the Life You Love. So I will send you a copy of that as well. That's a little bit about me in a nutshell. And just going to whiz you through to give you a flavor of some of the program components. So I don't even know what we've got in here. So yeah, I'm always going to start with your intention. And I'll talk about the neurological power of writing when we get into the program. This is the compendium of limiting beliefs that I did for the Raising Your Money Vibration program. So got everyone to fill in an anonymous online survey. So I don't know who said what, but they just typed in the biggest limiting beliefs they've got, the negative emotions that are holding them back. We're going to do something similar with this one. And then what I've been doing as we're going through the program, I'm designing processes to clear all of this stuff. So we did some past life regression. We did some stuff working with ancestry. We did some stuff working with your genealogy. Next week, next Thursday, for those of you who are joining us live, we're going to be doing the timeline therapy piece for the anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and clearing the limiting beliefs. So I'm going to do something similar with this program. So this one is just about money because it's the Raising Your Money Vibration program. But with the transformation program, you're probably going to have things about life and love and everything in between. So we'll do the same again, do a compendium of those beliefs and then cycling our way around. And we also did with this one just a straight out Huna and Access consciousness clearing session where I was creating clearing statements out of those, running the Access statement, and then doing the Huna energy clearing. So I'm going to do something similar with you guys for the transformation program as well. What else we got here? So this is one of the exercises about the money relationship. So I'll design some exercises with whatever you guys have brought to the table. There are also going to be some really short practical things, but they're short and practical. They seem very simple, but they're really powerful and they absolutely pack a punch when you apply them. And so I'm going to be sharing with them. There's some of like my Marilyn mind hacks and life hacks, but this is one of them for just changing your mindset. So you're going to have these little snippets to do as what I call home play. So there's going to be several things like that. We're also going to be doing guided processes. So this is a slide from what I'm doing next Thursday with the timeline induction to clear the old negative emotions and limiting beliefs. So we're going to have a series of processes. What's this one? We're going to have so when we've let go of negative emotions, what we're doing here, number one, we're starting off with, okay, what does everyone want to clear? So you'll type that into the chat room or into the private Q&A. Series of questions just to get a sense check of where we're at, looking at any blockages, seeing if there's anything we need to do beforehand, and then also starting to kind of benchmark how you know when things have disappeared, what will be different for you. So it's going to be a load of different things that we're doing. With the dowsing diagnostic, this was one that we did last time round in terms of just double checking. Is there anything we need to clear from past lives? Is there anything we need to clear from ancestry? Is there anything we need to clear from genealogy? We also did some readings for the group last time round with using the past life tarot cards. That was freaky. That was just beyond crazy in terms of what the cards said and what was people's reality. There was one I had said something about, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. The things randomly come into my head. And I said, oh my God, it's like, Oliver, please, sir, can I have some more? Well, you don't even want to ask. You can't even ask for what you want. And she typed into the group. She says, when we were younger, we were not allowed to ask for what we wanted. And as she described what her childhood was like, I mean, I've got goosebumps when I think about it now. It was exactly what was on the card. So you guys who do Tarot Tuesday every month already know this. But depending on where the group are at, if you can see behind me, I've got like 20 decks of cards, so it won't necessarily be past life. it will be something else. And then we often do debrief sessions once you've finished and all of that. So, and we might, depending on what we're working on, I want to hear actually. So we might be using the my new money breakthrough deck, which is 77 cards, or we might use, they feel so tiny now in comparison, there's only 44 of these, or we might use the new coaching cards deck. So depending again on what comes up for people, will depend on what we do. So that is it really in terms of the whistle stop tour through the new program. Do you have any final questions or final queries about anything we've touched on during this webinar? If you do, type them into the chat. I did see one or two messages pop up on my messenger. So what I'm going to do, just so I don't mess with the stream, I'm going to check that on here on my iPad. Let me just see. I think it's all right actually to pop over. Let me pop over there as well. Let me refresh that page. I think, oh, actually, hold on a minute. New notifications from, I've used Restream. Aha, cool. So David said, I've used Restream to do that for the Qigong session. Rethinking things. I might do a PowerPoint promo just like you did from my personal feed. Yeah, that's, you know, David, I thought about Restream, but then because I wanted to do the PowerPoint and just give you a flavor of the course, that's why I went with this option. So if you do have the option to do this, I think it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Hope you have too. But yeah, I'd definitely say it's one to play around with for sure. I guess the difference between what I'm doing here and what you can do with Restream is multiple. So you could be broadcasting to all of your Facebook pages. I could be doing this to YouTube as well. I'm not, but you can also do YouTube. So you can do a multitude of things with YouTube. With this one, I can only do Facebook, and I think I can only choose one profile. So I've chosen my private page, my personal page. I could have chosen a group or something. So I think I've just got the one choice. Could be wrong, but that's how I think it's set up. With Restream, you'll get more reach and you'll have several different videos. With this, I thought I'd just do the one video, and then what I'll do is I'll upload this video to YouTube. But yes, I think it's definitely a really good idea. And, you know, doing Qigong, that would be a really lovely thing to do as well. So let me know how you get on. I'm glad to have inspired a new idea for you. That'll be brilliant. Let me just have a look here. Right, I think we're good there. Let me just have a quick shufti in Messenger, which I will do on the iPad, so I'm just not jumping around between too many programs. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment or two. Aha, right, here we go. Okay, good question. When does it start? Oh, that's a very good question. I'll be honest with you, I don't have the answer to that yet. It's pre-launch this week, has been this week. So for those of you on my e-newsletter list, I sent you all the details and talked to you about the bonuses, etc., etc. So I'm going to pre-launch this week. Then the launch is like, you know, from next week probably till the end of this month. And then once I've got people booked on, what I would like to do, it is a bit like herding cats sometimes. It's not always my best idea. But what I do want to do is talk to everyone. If it's anything like the Raising the Money Vibration program, we've got people from Australia, America, Canada, the UK, I think Eastern Europe, can't remember exactly where, and you know, London local. So we've got a lot of time zones, and so it's been a little bit of a juggling act. But what I will do is I'll speak to everyone. I'll try and choose a date that everyone who wants to be live can do it, and then from there we kind of create a rolling program. So start date, I haven't got one at the moment. I'd probably say mid-July, mid to late July, something like that. But I want to do the pre-launch this week, the launch to the end of this month. Then I'll do a little bit of a sense check, speak to people, because I know we're hitting into holiday season as well if you're watching this in real time. And also the beauty of it is doing it via video webinar. It just means that if you can't make it, sorry, I probably look weird there because I'm looking at something. I was looking at something on screen rather than camera. But it just means if you can't make it, the replay recordings will be there, and you have lifetime access to all of the recordings. And so it means if you ever want to take yourself through one of the processes, you can kind of do that as well. So that's in answer to, that's a sort of half answer to when. How much is the program? That is a very good question. Now, oh, actually, that's a good question. Let me answer that in a couple of ways. One of the reasons I've done this is the one-to-one bespoke version. 3 to 6 month program. That's a big endeavor, and I know the price for many people was prohibitive. That was £4,900 for if you want to do the full transformation program. And so was thinking about it, looking at the technology that I've now got, and I'm thinking, well, I could do it slightly differently, hence coming up with this idea where we start with a bit of one-to-one, because working with somebody for 3 to 6 months, with some people we're doing a session every single week, for several months. That's a lot of time. It's very labor intensive, and that's why I can only open it up to 5 people that first time, and then 1 or 2 a year when I had the time. So the reason I put this program together, it's a different way of utilizing my time, and because it's not so labor intensive for me, I can do it at a different price. So if you want to do the labor intensive version, that's 4,900, around about that, or 4,700, something like that. The scholarship price is 2,900. This is for the bespoke version, and the video webinar version that we're talking about now, if you're booking it during the pre-launch, it's £797, and then it's going to be around the £1,400 mark when we go to launch. And if you're watching this not in real time, the prices are going to be probably completely different. So I'm just talking to those people who are watching me in real time. If you're watching this in a year's time and you're buying the programs, buying the recordings, it may be more than that, but that's the kind of benchmark now. So rather than 4,900, it's 797 for this group version. So that is that. Sorry, there was one more. Just close itself down. Let me wake it up. Wake me up before you go. Okay, so yes. So in terms of, they were asking about the, what is Tarot Tuesday? Tarot Tuesday, I have a membership group. So it's a Facebook membership group. There's also a membership group website for people who don't frequent Facebook. And every single month, there are different themes that run throughout the month. So we have Motivation Monday, which normally starts the month, something to get people moving and inspired. Tarot Tuesday, and I do Tarot Tuesday as Facebook live sessions. So I do Facebook lives in the group, and anyone who would like a free tarot reading just puts their name in the thread, and I just sit and read for people. And so sometimes I'm doing 10 readings, sometimes I'm doing 20. So that's Tarot Tuesday. We have Wisdom Wednesday, which is kind of a written think tank essay piece where I'm delving back through the ages and bringing ancient wisdom into today's world. And that's anything from Aristotle and, Abraham Maslow through to Oprah and Jennifer Lopez and, Socrates and anyone in between. I think one of my favorites actually was David Bowie. That was fascinating. So that's that. We have Think Tank Thursday, which is like a management consultancy session, again done via Facebook Live, where again anybody can ask a question. I'll do a Facebook Live and I'll just answer all the questions, give you ideas and thoughts and strategies. We have Focus Friday, which comes towards the end of the month. So we do a retrospective and focusing for the month ahead. We have Sharing Saturday, which I'll do, free teleseminars, webinars. Once a year, we have a free workshop for those people who are based in the UK, so they can all meet up and spend the day together. And then we have Soul Food Sunday, which is food for your soul. So that's what the Tarot Tuesday is part of. Right, I think that is it in terms of questions. I'm just going to have one final check on my Facebook page and just refresh it. And then after that, I think we might be good. And I think we're done. Cool. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for joining me. Thank you for those of you who joined me live. Thank you for your comments and thank you for your questions. And thank you if you have taken the time also to watch this as a replay. And a triple thank you for those of you who have signed up to join me on this journey. And again, if you joined us later, it's www.transformationprogram.eventbrite.com if you wanted further information. What I've also done is a split pay version using Thrivecart, so you can pay it in 2 installments. And actually the Thrivecart is fee free as well, so you might want to look at that. I'll put the links into this video so you have those there. And by all means, keep in touch. If you have any questions or queries, you can email me. It's marilyn@transformationstm.com, and Marilyn is Marilyn. Same spelling as Marilyn Monroe. Most people can spell Marilyn Monroe, but my name gets some really weird spellings. And it's trance, TRANCE, formations, FORMATIONS. So Transformations, TM as in trademark, transformationstm.com. That's also my main website. My blog is marilyndevonish.com. And there's also my electronic booking page as well. And I'll put the links in for that also. And follow me on social media. It's /Marilyn Devonish, apart from Instagram, which is the NeuroSuccess Coach. And if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a kind of a thumbs up, a love heart. That would be great. And if you know anyone who could benefit from taking part in this program, it would be absolutely wonderful if you wanted to share it as well. And you don't necessarily have to share it and tag people in. I know that can be annoying, but if you just shared it to your own timeline, your own page, there's a likelihood that they might see it. So that would be absolutely fantastic. And actually, one thing while we're on the subject, I've also just set up a new affiliate program. So it's all online, everything is tracked, and you will have your own back office, so you can do your own revenue checks as well. So if you want to promote this or any others of my programs, then that will be wonderful as well. And I'll put the link. I've written a blog about it, and so everything's in there, so you can see what the tracking system looks like. You get a look into the back office, and it just means that if you choose to, you can get paid commission if anybody should use your link and book. And what I've also done, because you have the option of how you set your cookies in terms of 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 90 days, etc. I've set the cookies for forever. So that means it's always going to be tracking. It's not that the cookies will drop off. And I've also set it up because there are times if somebody's booking something, I might make them another offer for a half-price coaching session or something like that. And so I've set it up that you will get double commission. So if somebody books the main thing plus the offer, you'll get commission on both of those things as well. So I will put the link in for where you can sign up for that. If you would like to share it in that way, that would be wonderful. Well, that's it really. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Do keep in touch. And for those of you who are joining me on the program, I know it's going to be a super fabulous journey. I'm really, really excited to get started, and I'm just so delighted that you have also signed up to join me. So thank you. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.